Hello, Jumbo Africa. I greet you all, guys, and I'm here on the hot potato platform. So it's potato. What is the difference? The difference is this one is hot and it's in my chest. So we go in a chest cleaning exercise, or we go on a chest cleaning exercise, which I am going to be I'll take the lead, and you guys in the comment section or in your other ways of responding, you respond to it, and may superior logic prevail. That's all I ask for. So guys, today we are celebrating the independence of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe. 44 years ago, the Prince Charles, lowered the Union Jack, and a Zimbabwean flag was raised, and Bob Marley performed at Rufaro Stadium. That's how significant that day was. And so the importance of the independence, the benefits and everything, that's not what I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about the message that our forefathers left with us. The message was "Aluta continua," the struggle continues. And what were they saying? They were not saying, guys, go back again, take your guns and fight. No, they actually say to us, the struggle is taking a different form. We might have gained a bit of parliamentary majority, and in our cabinet we have got more black people than before, but the elephant is still in the room. So the struggle continues. So in what shape? So if you check even the struggle for Zim, it took different forms. There were demonstrations then, and some of the forms I know of them, some I don't even know. But I remember there were, my grandma used to tell me about Wonde Janda. I don't know what it was. And then before that, probably then the first Chimurenga, Spears versus the Maxim gun. And then we had the second Chimrenga, maybe in between. That's where the Wonde Janda. My grandma never told me exactly when the war was waged, the Janda, whether it was demonstrations or what was it. Maybe someone out there who knows exactly about this war, please come and help us to understand what my grandma was trying to tell us. Because our history, as you know it as Africans, is passed from generation to generation by this thing, what we are doing right now. Sit down and talk. So that was the form to the first Chimrenga. Then we go into the second Chimrenga. Then so many programs that government did, which some people argued worked, some will say it didn't work. That's not my story today, but I'm just talking of the different forms of the struggle that took place from way then up to this day and going forward. So, and then in late 90s, the land reform. It was another struggle, which also wasn't of mainly guns, but land redistribution and or expropriation of land and so on. So land reform program or fast track land reform program. And then the Second Republic. All these forms are forms of independence. And what am I saying? So if you see the struggle for independence, it's not an event. It's a marathon. It keeps on taking different forms and shapes. We keep on fine-tuning it. So if today you're not happy, why don't you stand up and say, look, this is what I think you should have included in the package called independence or freedom. And I will be very happy. So that's how it should be, and that's how I see it. And I have my opinion as well. So for me, my ideal independence, that I would say, wow, maybe I can stand up and also tell everybody that we are now fully independent. So obviously you get the gist of my idea here. I'm actually saying in not a clever way that we not yet, the struggle continues, aluta continua, as I've said. So this was the message from our forefathers towards our slogans, and what they meant, aluta continua, is exactly what I want to tell you in my personal view of what I think our independence should be, not only for Zim, but for Africa. So this idea of having European rules or ways of governance on Africa, to me, that's not independent. There's no freedom. And I'm not trying to take you back to the medieval era or to the Iron Age era. I am simply saying where we are today, with all knowledges or all the knowledge that we have acquired, can we not devise our own way of governance? If maybe for starters, can we not just say this, whether political ideology you believe in, this ideology, I'll take it, but I'll spin it or I'll mix it or I'll hybrid it with an African character. You see, so something like that as a starter pack. That's my idea. Why can't we do that where we say, okay, fine, we are not yet clever enough to come up with our own political ideology, but the starter pack is, let's mix or hybrid it with some values and principles of Africa. Because one of the reasons why whatever we assume or whatever we take as independence, some people are not happy, it's because it's not organic. It's not talking to the people on the ground. So some of the freedoms you don't really feel like for example, in an independent country, like when I grew up, you still have a marriage which is traditional, that is not recognized at the same level as the marriage that came from other parts of the world. You go to a bank and you say, I'm married, and they won't recognize your marriage unless, in Zim we used to call it Chapter 37, unless it's Chapter 37. I'm talking then, I don't know the Marriage Act right now. I know it was amended recently or a new law was enacted recently, but I'm just saying these things, that when you are in an independent country and you are an African and your marriage is not recognized, what kind of independence is that? I'm just giving as one example. So that's what I assume. So I'll be very glad when our independence take that spin, where we look at our way of governance and we say, can we not take a conveyor belt kind of everything from Europe to Africa as way of governance? Can we create our own way? Can we come up with, can we hybridize the European one, as I've said, as a starter pack, and then have it as our way of governance? Constitution. Do you know what I believe about constitutions? I believe there is no African country on this day, 18 April 2024, there is no African country that has written its own constitution. So that's what I believe. There's no African country. And if I'm wrong, respectively, guys, you can correct me. So I stand to be corrected. But I know there are people that are going to come up and say, we sat at this meeting, and just ticking boxes. And if you notice, most of our constitutions, they sound if you read them, they are exactly the same. If someone says this is a progressive constitution of Zim, of South Africa, of Ghana, of Tanzania, of Namibia, if you read it, sometimes in some sections it's word for word exactly the same. So I still believe that our constitutions are written somewhere and then they are brought to us, and all what is done here is ticking boxes, some pseudo kind of meeting the people, and then they add useless points there that they just add, and that's it. So I want an Africa that is capable of writing its own constitution. Guys, we have come a long way. We have got scholars among us. We have got people that are really educated. Please, can we utilize that a group of people that are really educated to help us come up with all these things that I pray for, so that I can also have a day where I say, well, Africa, you are independent, and that's me. And independence must mean different to every person. Some people just wanted one man, one vote. So if it's there, then you're happy. Some people wanted to see just a black person in charge. And if it's there, you're happy. Some people wanted economical transformation. If it's there, then you're happy. So it differs. But my ideal independence is when we can come up with our own ideologies or political stories. And if we can't, and we are claiming that we are not capable, which is an inferior complex, why don't we hybridize those that are available and then put an African spin on it? And then some of us will be happy. So that's my view, guys. But again, taking nothing away from Zim, happy independence, Zimbabwe. A luta continua, and hopefully one day our kids and all the people after us will stand up tall and be proud of our contribution. I'm talking now of our generation. We appreciate the generation that waged the armed struggle, but our generation, what is it that we have done to transform, or to, as a luta continua, as the struggle continues, what is it that we have done to emancipate our independence, or to put our own contribution, our own mark, so that we can say then the generation after did this? Because, as I've said, it's a continuous process that changes form, but it's exactly the same thing. The country or Africa must be independent. Uhuru, total uhuru to Africa. Jambo Africa. Makoro Koto Zimbabwe. I love you, good people. Thank you.